You do the intro usually.
Takes me a minute usually.
To snap into it. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Take a moment. Or two.
All right. Okay. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Flex in the City. I am Gada.
And I'm Lisa. And this is episode
21?
21.
Or 22?
It's 21, I think.
21.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
I'm just trying to think the BTS 20.
I don't count the BTSs.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. So.
Yay.
If you can see, we have mics on today, so I really hope that the sound seems a little bit clearer and better for you guys. We really want to just give you
constructive feedback.
And we're listening, so we're trying our best to, make this as professional as possible and still be able to have fun with it at the same time.
Here we are.
Yeah.
I'm going to mention very quickly that we did the live before, and for those of you who weren't on it, shame on you. And you missed out. And you missed out. It was actually a lot of fun, and I was surprised. I'm gonna be honest. I was actually surprised that we had not just people attending, but like interaction.
Yeah, and I think that was the fun part, is that people actually leaving comments and just being able to interact. Because I think we've talked about this before. Like sometimes we feel like we're just talking into, into a vacuum or something. And so to have actually, people that follow us are on there and they're giving us, input and
really
that
good.
was
and
really
liking
nice.
The content, and that you guys wanted to have some more of that is like.
So I definitely think we'll definitely be doing a lot more of that.
Yeah, for sure. Once we figure out a way to have boundaries for our better boundaries for, because some of our conversations are so good, but just so much of it is just not stuff that we can at this point in our lives share.
Not yet.
No, not yet. Maybe
not
eventually,
yet.
But
maybe
we'll see. Not yet. Anyway, how was your week and the preceding weeks that I've not seen you?
Yeah, it was good. We I'm excited that we finally got together for Friendsgiving, and I invited Lisa and her family over to meet some of my friends. It was like a little United Nations that we had going on.
It really was. It was a Benetton ad.
Yeah, we had Colombia there, we had Kenya, we had Palestine, we had
Germany,
obviously, and US, if you want to count my American
and then all
side.
Our like mixed kids and kids from all over, and so many different languages being spoken. That was super cool.
That was so nice. I loved that. I really loved that, and they loved you guys so
much.
Oh
man, likewise.
But do you notice how the 3 Germans, our husbands, were so quiet?
Because they've probably never been in an environment where we all feel so like
comfortable.
Yeah, and we were all like, I
just thought they would find their own like little corner and just be like, having a therapy session alone or something.
That's why when the football thing came up, they were like, "Can we go watch this football game?"
Your man disappeared so quick. Every time
he was like,
I need to go check on the little kids. And
I was like, the babies are fine.
And Khalid at some point, he was like, "What? Say something."
It's like, what? Do you hear that?
Coming.
I'm gonna go. Didn't come back.
Literally did not come back. That was funny.
So funny. Yeah. No, it was really nice though. It was such a good time. Food was amazing.
Oh, man.
And just so good to sit around a table and eat and talk and laugh and converse.
I mean, I love going out to dinner. I love going to restaurants and, I like that vibe. But there's also something special about being in a house around a dining room table and sharing that. Like, I feel like it's different. It's so cozy, and it's like you do that with like people you love, and it's like family, and I don't know.
It's
and
wholesome.
We don't have that here because you don't have your family here. I don't have my family, and the friends that I introduced you to, it's only them. Like they don't have
their families.
Yeah, so
they're really far from home.
Yeah, like really far. Yeah,
it's not a hop, step, and jump.
No. So that was, I think that's why it's so important for us to have these like circles of friends around us to just kind of keep us sane as well as we try to navigate life in a foreign country.
In a foreign country,
that's not very welcoming.
Navigatable. Yeah, alone, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have the support of our partners, but their experience in this country is, of course, different.
It's different.
So, it's nice
and they
to have
are Germans
conversations.
also, so it is still a bit...
Yeah, it's not going to be foreign to them.
Yeah.
Like, even just hearing your friend speak about how she was, like, even shipping her stuff here. I was like, yes, she explained it so well, because she had this beautiful, humongous, lovely painting. And I was like, this is so beautiful. And she was like, I was like, who's the artist? Because I was like, I love that type of, like, sort of single brush stroke art. And she was like, oh no, I brought this with me from back home. And I was like, this huge thing. She's like, oh, I brought, like, almost all my stuff, because it's not just that it's material stuff, it's the fact that there's a story behind how you acquired some of those things, or you have a sentimental attachment to something because it reminds you of something else, or like. And I was like, that's exactly it. Like, this feeling of wanting your stuff around you, it's also not just the sentimental attachment, it's also like you want a footprint of home,
where you come from, like,
of something that was a part of something you acquired elsewhere to be here.
Okay. 3 good things
about Munich. Constant 7-day-a-week access to baked goods.
Okay. Even though we don't do bread.
Even though we don't, and I don't like pretzels, and the bread is really hard.
Okay, so does that even count?
For people who like carbs. Okay, let me try again.
It has to be 3 things that, like, apply to you.
Okay.
And not because it helps your kids or something.
I have one.
Okay.
And it relates to a story I want to tell you too. The beauty of knowing when you go to the doctor and you have your insurance card that you're covered.
Yes.
All above board, of course. But just having that freedom, because with my previous experience with the doctors here, we spoke about this. The bedside manner, the personableness is just not there. So for me, it's very important having that.
Which is crazy, because everyone always talks about, like, at least in the Middle East, they always talk about, like, when they want to get their regular checkups, or I even know people who get, like, ear cleanings, like, they come to Germany to do that. Like, they only depend on German doctors. So it's like, how bad is it over there for them to come here? And for me, it's all about the aftercare. Like, that's what I want. That's what I value more than anything else, because the doctors, they come in for like 2 minutes, do their thing, pop, 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 and they're out. But then if you have to sit there, like, in the hospital for a day or 2 or whatever, it's like, it's the nurses, they're the ones that are taking care of you. And
yours has been positive?
Here, thankfully I haven't had to deal with that. I'm just thinking of my experience in Jordan and how bad it was.
Did you have any of your kids here?
No.
Oh,
I had all my kids in Jordan, but just I've heard from other people just how, and including you, just how.
Yeah, so my experience with that was
off-putting it is.
Yeah, it was the before and the during.
Yeah.
And the after, and I won't go into the whole C-section story, but like, the after was really difficult. Also because, like, my first son, I had him in Australia, so this is my point of reference, right? And, like, in the hospital, automatically when you're in the labor ward, for example, there is a couch that pulls out in there, because the contemplation is that there might be a partner or a friend. At the end of the day, this woman is going to need support from somebody, and they're probably going to need to sleep here.
Yeah.
And it's just contemplated. When
sense.
You get a room, exactly.
Yeah.
Here, you have to actually book in advance for a room that has an extra bed, and it comes at an extra cost. Oof. And they only have a set number of them.
Oh,
so if
even if
everybody's
you ask
having
one,
babies,
chances are you're not
to be
getting
you.
one.
Sucks to be you. You need to be by yourself then. On top of that, you will be paying for the extra person to stay there with you as well. Thirdly, the food.
Oh, but that's all hospitals.
No, you get hot meals for dinner. In Kenya, I've been in the hospital.
Yeah, we get them in Jordan, but they suck.
Yeah, it's not good, but it's hot food. You're not getting a slice of cheese and ham. That was dinner.
I mean, that's just, that's a cultural thing here. Like,
you see what they
eat for dinner, broadside. bread
that's what
and
it's called.
cheese,
bread and cheese,
or like turkey slices or salami.
How
or
are
whatever.
you having cold food and it's cold outside? That is my Kenyanness speaking. Like, you can't have cold food at dinner. You know, I need hearty food. I need food that meat has been cooked for at least 3 hours. You know, I need like sauces and like thick. It's different. So in the hospital, when you're trying to like get your strength back and you're like starting to breastfeed this baby, they're like, here's a pickle and a piece of dry ass bread to scratch your throat that just had a tube in it. Like, and then I got so sick. This is part of the aftercare still. I got so sick after like the C-section itself, and you've just had 7 layers cut. And the nurse came, and like I got sick, like I threw up, and you can't get up on your own. Mm-mm. And like the nurse had to like come and like help me get up. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And she was super annoyed that like I had like throw up on me. And I'm like, dude, I'm already exposed enough. I look like shit. I'm wearing this dress where my ass cheeks are waving to everybody out the back. Of course. My man's looking at me like, damn, this is the woman I knocked up.
This is like, not what I signed up for.
Rock bottom. Like if your man sees you in that state where you have the pad and that netty diaper on awful. And your stomach is looking all deflated and your ass is hanging out the back and you have puke on yourself and your titties are out because the nurses keep coming in. Oh shit, I just mashed the entire mic. But they're coming in to like mash your titties because they're like, has your colostrum come in yet? Yeah. And like, of course you're gonna look a hot mess. Yeah. Did I just see a flurry of snow? It better have been fluff. Anyway, like you're at your rock bottom worst, right? Yeah. And so if your man stays like,
hold on to that.
He loves you. Hold on. That's real. He's a real one. But yeah, like she was like so upset. And they have to hold you as you back up onto the toilet because you can't even, and then you can't pee because the first pee after that is insane.
So messed up.
Like there's so many bad things happening. And the fact that they're not empathic about it or sympathetic in any way is just the worst. And that was across the board. I was there for 4 days. I had a different nurse almost every day. And it was one who was German born, but she was Black, and she was actually really nice. Of course. Yeah. And like everyone else, once they realized I didn't speak German, they were just like, we just not gonna talk to you. Yeah. I was like, so if my man wasn't here for you to explain stuff to, I just wouldn't know. You'd just be coming here to pick up my baby and go to weigh him and test him and not telling me. Like, yeah. So that's the stuff where I'm like, yeah, it's just so contrived. So for me, my experience has not been great. But yes, for the quality of the treatment, also, mine hasn't been great compared to Australia. Nope, I don't rate it. But compared to our countries and a lot of countries, yes, I will say, yeah, of course. Because they have a standard that is strictly applied that they have to adhere to. So I like that. Definitely in the dental field, yes, for sure. Like I have and that's maybe just because these dentists I've gone to are really good, but yeah, I have all the confidence there. So. Okay. Yeah. So back to good things, and it came back to like, okay,
of your 3.
Let me go outside.
Okay.
Compared to places like Kenya, where kids can't really walk around outside, and same thing with Dubai, but for a different reason, because of the weather. It's amazing that the kids can safely like walk up and down the street. All right, not the baby, but kids in general.
That for me is everything.
Is because we never had that in our home country.
It's safety and it's independence. Like, and there's no way I could ever do that with my kids.
Couldn't even think of doing it. Fact.
I love that. Minus the World War III on the horizon.
Listen.
I was like,
that could all change.
I left the Middle East because there was always like this feeling of, instability in the region and all that. And because we're in Jordan, so you're literally in the center of all of that.
Right in the thick of it.
And like, for me, like, you walk into malls and hotels and whatever, you walk through metal detectors.
We have that in Kenya too.
Really?
Yeah, we have that because one of our malls got bombed.
Yeah, we had. And
there's dogs that sniff your car and they look under your car with the mirror. Guards.
They don't do dogs, but they always, like, when you're going into the parking lot for the mall or the hotel or whatever, if you're parking the car by yourself, you open the trunk. Same. I mean, half of it is like half-ass, like,
Yeah, they're just like, you look
But
fine.
anyway, like they do that, and that for me was just like, and to explain that to the kids too, like we had our own 9/11, but it was November 9th. And this happened, I remember, while I was in university. I think it was 2003. I'm so sorry, but I should know that year. And there was like a series of hotels, like the Four Seasons, and no, not the Four. I'll figure out the hotels, but it was like a series of them where they were bomb attacks.
Yeah.
And it went up. So, and that's when they introduced the checking and all that.
Security,
So like for that, I was like, I always felt like uneasy. And I was also working at the American school at the time, and the American school has like crazy security.
Security is crazy.
So I think that added to my level of stress. Like we would do mandatory, like monthly threat, what do you call them?
Drills.
Yeah.
Like, are you ready in case of an emergency?
And so this one, it wasn't, we would do fire alarms also, but this one was a specific sound. And wherever you were in the like school, like even if you were in the hallway, like you had to immediately run into whether it was the bathroom or what, like the nearest room, and you had to lock these, like, and our doors were like major, like heavy doors,
right?
Built
like
for
steel,
those, built
so
for
that
those.
You can't like bulletproof or something.
I don't know if they were bulletproof, but they were like heavy duty.
Okay.
Especially in the new parts of the school.
Dang.
And then every teacher was instructed that at one point someone would come and knock on the door and say like a word so that you knew that it was safe to come out. And you couldn't open the door until then. And like imagine like because my kids would be in the school and they would have to go through these drills too. And it was like they would tell me that was always afterwards they'd say it was the scariest thing ever.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So just like that, like that's why I was happy to come here. And now I'm just like, World War III.
Yeah, seriously.
Give me a fucking break, man.
I know, especially with like the leaders we have now. I'm just like, dude, like anything can happen over the course of the next few years. I'm just like, geez, there's nowhere that's safe. Australia is safe.
Yeah.
Ish. It's far enough from all of the nonsense.
We're all going to Australia. I'm ready to go to Australia.
Yeah, let's go.
So on to
no, I have the third positive thing.
Oh, okay.
So I was gonna take out the
We're
second.
Gonna need to work on these.
Three. I did not prepare in advance. So yeah, the healthcare, that sort of ease, the fact that the kids can walk around safety, you have some peace of mind about safety to an extent, and proximity to the rest of Europe.
Yes.
Yeah. Easy train ride to Paris, which we will be doing in January.
Yes.
And documenting.
Yes. Parts of you had homework to do.
Yeah, but you said for this week. It's still this week.
I said by Wednesday, I expect to hear. Yes,
okay,
I did.
You see how
she was feeling, let me explain. She was feeling a bit, down, which is totally okay. And just feeling like, she hasn't had time to herself. And
a bit down is the understatement of the year.
Yeah,
so I'm trying. Yeah. Thank you.
And that she needed a break, and that she just felt like, you felt like you've been here for so long and you haven't had a proper break, and you need a break from Germany. And I said, your homework is to find a place in Paris where you want to stay, where you want to go. I know you're waiting on your friend.
To confirm, no, but I'm not waiting on him to confirm the bill. Like, babes, I'm not waiting for him to confirm. If he comes, that's awesome. And if not, I'll meet him wherever. Yeah. But no, I will definitely go, even if it's a lone trip. I'm all good for traveling alone. I've done that heaps of times before. First of all, I did look, but I'm really picky. So I want either a really good deal, a really good hotel, or a really nice Airbnb. So the Airbnbs, I do have short lists, and I haven't booked the ticket yet because I'm not certain of the dates. And I just want to make sure that it's okay for me to step away for a day or two at that point.
2 days.
It would be 2 days because travel, then the one night, and then travel back the next. So, yeah, I think one night is a good start.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
So I think that's our little spiel before we get into our topic for the day, which I'm super excited about.
I am too. I actually very many times have thought about doing this. I just never done it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really good exercise.
So we thought, and this could be also an exercise that you do with yourself, is to
not the one you're thinking of.
No. Is to write a letter to our 18-year-old self. And right now, obviously, it's not going to be a letter in the form of the podcast. It's going to be more like tips or advice that we would give to our 18-year-old self that you can do. You can write a letter. You can, do whatever, like voice note, advice, whatever it is, however way you want to do it. Basically, what tips or advice or words of wisdom would you give to your 18-year-old self that you wish you knew then? So,
or things that you wish you applied then that would affect where you are now. I think that's something that you hear a lot about, but I think we hear it and we're like, that would be so cool, but we don't really ever really sit down and think about it. So we have kind of done that a little bit. And I
know we also don't want to be living in the coulda, shoulda, woulda, like days, like
right,
that kind of mindset, because that's not what but I think it's just like, had we known this, what could have been, like, would we be leading different lives, or we still would have ended up in the same place that we are now?
Yeah, that one is pretty wild, because there's so many things, even little nuances. It's like the butterfly effect. Like one tiny thing changed, it could have maybe sent us in a completely different direction. So that's hard to even contemplate. But I think a lot of them, at least for me, when I was thinking about it, I was like, all right, where am I at now, that if there was habits that I could have applied back, and again, it's based on me being thinking I'm receptive to it at that 18-year-old self, that if I had applied those habits then, like how much better would that been for my fitness, for my health, for my self-image, for my
mindset.
Exactly, for avoiding things that happened in my 20s and 30s that really I don't feel served any purpose.
No.
So what would you write to your 18-year-old self? Do you want to categorize it like family, fitness?
I think like when we were discussing it, like we and that's what, when we were discussing it before, like we were putting it into categories. So if we want to talk, I think you mentioned body image as one of them, which I think would have been, I always used to just I was so obsessed with my stomach when I was so obsessed, because I never had a flat stomach. Like I always had a little bit of a pouch.
Really?
Yeah, and I was always obsessed with it. And I always felt like I think we've even talked about this like on previous episodes, where I was told once that I had thunder thighs, like thighs bigger than my mother, and that stuck with me. And so I never felt like I was comfortable in my body. I always felt like I needed to be thinner, that whole bullshit that we had growing up. I think that still exists now, even, like, although
isn't that crazy too? Sorry, just to interrupt you for a second. That like this might have been a struggle that you had even when we knew each other, and I never knew that you were having that. Like sometimes it's just, you can be friends with someone and hang out almost every day and have no idea. Like I had no idea.
I always struggled with that. And you see, like I was never like huge.
No, you were skinny. You're still skinny.
Not
skinny. You're small.
I'm not skinny.
Yeah, skinny has petite, a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I think that, like, and now I'm just like, I've heard myself say it out loud. Like, I wish I had loved my body then, because I'll look at pictures and be like, oh man, I was hot. You know what I mean? Like, not saying I think I'm okay now also, like, but like would look at I never had the chest, but I was, I had the booty.
Listen.
And I had the thighs, which then I thought were like huge. And even my siblings would be like, yo, you've got like football player.
Okay, legs. Come on.
But not in a bad, my sister who's a trainer, she always was like I wish Diesel. I had. Yeah. I wish I had your thighs.
Well, yeah, because she's like long and really skinny.
Like a trainer and all that. So and she was always taller than me and very like lean, and I had like these muscular legs that came from I don't know where. And I always thought it was like,
she said it came from I don't know where.
but now it's just like, oh man, like what I wish then that I had appreciated my body. And now I can actually
Still
like,
time.
I will say now, like, oh my God, what my body has done for me, like given me my boys, like that in itself is crazy how our body does
Honestly,
that.
and I know we
It's
talk about it
still,
a lot, but y'all, seriously, unless like you've really gone through, you don't understand.
yeah.
Like, and I always say what they say. Oh, giving birth and pregnancy is so natural. It ain't natural. It's
Mm-mm.
not. It's crazy.
But like the way that your body literally changes and accommodates to this human,
On
you
its
literally
own,
have a human inside of you.
you are
Like
growing a
that's like
human.
alien shit,
It really is. When you really think about it, it's
So,
really it's mind fuck material.
yeah.
It's really like, and then the fact that your body is like, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to tell me anything. You don't need to think about anything.
Exactly.
Even when you're sleeping, I'm
Yeah.
making sure
Yeah.
old mate in there is taken care of,
Yes.
and everything is perfect, literally perfect. That is
Yeah.
the last perfect environment
Yeah.
that we're in before birth.
It's like beautiful and trippy all at the same
Yeah,
time.
it really is. It really, and then afterwards, your body's like, oh, we done? All right, cool.
All right.
Back to factory settings.
I mean, it doesn't like reset all the way,
right? But it's like, I mean, we're gonna stay kind of ready
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you want to
yeah,
do it
yeah.
again. You
Yeah,
ready to
yeah.
go again?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
amazing.
Man.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that's one thing that what would you say about the body image also?
Physically, oh man, obviously. But that's something that I still struggle with so much, which is like body image, because we talked about this the other week where I was really short for a lot of like middle school, and then I only started growing in junior high, and I used to complain about being really short because everyone else grew before me, and then I grew. And I remember my mom used to say, you're going to be so tall one day, you're going to hate it. And I would be like, I'm never going to hate being tall. I love being tall, but some days
it took you a while to get there.
Yeah, and some days I'm like, someone's calling me, and some days I'm like, all right, I wish I was not quite so tall, because like I want to wear these like 4-inch platform wedge sandals in the summertime and not have people stare at me, or like stupid reasons like that. Before I found a man that was taller than me, it was like, holy crap, like this is just too much to deal with, and these men out here obviously don't have the ability to deal with what I. And then you come across stereotypes about tall women, like some of the things that I've heard that people imagine are attributed to a woman because she's tall. I'm like
what?
Are you serious? All right,
I'm short,
like,
so
this is a family show, okay. But I'm gonna try and put it in as PG. So I heard it from one guy. To be fair, I've only heard it once, but I checked with another guy and I was like, I heard this, and he's like, oh yeah, that's like a thing that we think, which is that they think that taller women, like, because we're longer, everything is longer, everything.
Oh.
So that they think, oh, well, if you're with a tall woman, then that's gonna also just be, and I was like,
oh my God.
And I was like, this is the kind of mentality that precedes. This is why y'all can't find shit down there. That's why you don't know where anything is, because you don't understand anatomy. But like, it's just.
What happens if they meet a really short woman? What is it?
That's what they're saying. They think short means like it's gonna be short and like little, and I'm like, you realize one does not correlate to the other.
Oh, you men.
So I was like, wow, so this is a thing. Okay, and then there's the obvious like intimidation, men who are intimidated by height. And you see how a lot of them revolve around perception from men or general society.
Right.
So, and I'll say it again, I never actually disliked being tall. Like when I wear like, especially when my legs are on point, when I wear a short skirt and I have like the big girl shoes on, I'm like, I love it. But I know
you're fierce. Like
I love how it looks. Yeah. I love that. I'm like, every inch of me that's there, I love. But I know when I step outside of the house, there's going to be some people who are like, why do you wear high shoes if you're so tall? I'm like, why do you walk out in public if you're so busted?
I would just say, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why do you wear that dress if you're so fat?
Yeah.
Like, shit. Why you got that face on?
Oh, man.
So like, yeah, so it's so stuff like that, and like not giving a shit. And that's why I said I still struggle with that a little bit, is just being like, you know what, I love this. This makes me feel good and I'm happy. I'm not doing it for anyone, and fuck whatever anyone else thinks or how they react.
Thank you.
That is something that I said I'm still struggling with, but I wish, especially when I was younger,
that you were already saying that to yourself, because then come now in your 40s,
it would be such a like distant memory, if that. And I would have enjoyed the times where I had all of these opportunities to do that, you know, and I just was like, oh, I can't wear these shoes and I can't do this and I can't go here, or I need to, like, you know, because I'm just like, you know, so like the height was one thing. Physically, it's not been anything specific, I would say. Oh, the fact maybe that I don't have like a big enough ass as an African.
I remember you telling me,
Yeah, but that's just because I've been repeatedly clowned about my entire life by my sisters, by my friends. To this, it's the main reason I haven't done that suspect challenge. Have you seen it?
No.
But it's basically this thing on, I think it's on TikTok, but I don't know because I'm not on TikTok. It's definitely on Instagram as well. And it's a lot of couples who do it, but just friends as well, where they say something about the person, but they say it like you're a cop, like reporting a suspect. Like it's like for me, they'd be like, suspect is 5'11", but thinks you can still wear high heels.
Right.
And then you're
okay.
like, and the person you're saying it to has to be in the video, and like they have to act like they're running, and then you say it and like you film their reaction. So a really funny one actually I saw yesterday was, remember old boy Aaron Pierre from the that movie I told you, Rebel Ridge, the guy with the green eyes who was talking to the guy on the phone and he was like, nah.
Yeah.
So of course that scene went viral, and he's in the Mufasa movie as the voice of young Mufasa with this other guy who's like the young Scar. And so they're doing it, and it's the Aaron Pierre guy running. He goes, suspect looks exactly like Scar, but wanted to be the main character.
That's so messed up.
Yeah, and he was like, fair. Man. And it was so good. And I was like, that's the main reason. So there's a friend of mine who is back home, and he's like, no one wants to do this shit with me because he is like me, like he would go in and be me, right? And he's like, no one wants to do it with me because they know I'm gonna like call their ass out. And I was like, honestly, that's the same reaction. Like, no one wants to do it with me because I'll call them out. And then we were like, we're not gonna do it with each other, because I'm like, nah, you're gonna go all the way in, and I am too. Because the first thing I thought about was like, he's gonna make fun of the fact that I can't squat, and it's because I have no ass and like I have no hips. Like suspect is shaped like 14-year-old boy.
Oh,
but like,
no.
yeah, like I was like, my ego can't take that right now. And also because Kenyans, we just go in, like there's no breaks, no holds barred. So I was like, I can't take it right now. But so that's been a really big one for me. Also because all my sisters are really super curvy, and ass, titties, all of it. And I'm like, and I'm the last one. They were like, yeah, they stopped with you.
You're the
because,
youngest, right?
Yeah, and I'm the last one. So they used to say, oh, like they got the boy. That's why they stopped. It's all girls. And they were like, yeah. That's why they stopped.
That's so mean.
Yeah, right?
That's so mean. On so many levels.
It's okay. They all have cellulite and stretch marks.
Okay.
Bitches.
Balance.
Bitches. They're all blocked too. Anyway, that's one main one for the physicality. I think for everything else, like I said, like there's just the overall feeling that, you know, I'm unfit. I've seen my body when it's really, really fit, and the capacity that I have to be there. But the mind fuck is when I was there. I remember, like, I look back at those photos, like you just said.
You weren't happy with your...
Yeah, and I'm like, even then, like, I remember how I felt in that photo. I'm like, this was a before photo. This was meant to be like, okay, now I'm going to get serious. And I'm like, I have an 8-pack. I have, like, 0 body fat. You can see that I'm probably dehydrated. Like, where else is there to go? This is not good. So...
I remember that too.
Fixing that. Yeah. I mean, I was healthy. I was eating, and I was consistent. And ripped.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, so that's where my body can go if I'm consistent. So I know that, but what I would change comes out of the physical and more into now the mental. Which is my mindset. Yeah, because my body has been all different shapes and sizes. And the one thing that's been consistent is I've not been fully happy about it. And so, yeah.
So now that you are, and I said this when I first walked into the house, that you're looking
svelte.
really good.
in my oversized sweater.
How would you say your mindset is today? Like, are you able to celebrate your body right now and the progress?
I do a little bit, and I try to do that.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Trying to be careful.
I do try to do that, which is part of why I posted like me fitting into that skirt.
Yes.
Oh, yesterday.
Which I love that. You should do more stuff like that.
And I feel like weird posting it because I'm just like, am I like hyping myself? Like, is this? But
you gotta be your own hype person.
You gotta. But I think I'm more conscious about it now. So I think in that respect, I am healthier because I sort of catch myself and I'm like, nah, like this is something to be celebrated. This is progress. Like it's not end of the journey, but it's movement in the journey. And that's something to be celebrated. So in that respect, I'm definitely moving in the right direction. I'm not where I would want to be, but certainly better than I was. And I'm trying to do the real work so that it's not that, oh, I've gotten healthier or I've gotten stronger or I've lost, inches in my waist. I don't want that to be the catalyst. I want it to actually be a change of mindset. Yeah, so that even if the waist gets bigger again,
like up here, okay.
Yeah. So
I love that. I think that's where it's at. And like you said, like just having a stronger mindset, and I think just even having a different outlook on life. Like I think back then maybe we just probably our priorities were different. We focused on the wrong things. We just, like you said, maybe we wouldn't have been receptive or open to, because you're very like, as an 18-year-old self, you're just kind of very focused on you.
Yeah, I don't even remember much about me being 18, except for like obviously graduating high school, like moving to the States for college. Yeah, but yeah, like it was very like me focused and being like, which party do I want to go to and what do I want to buy to like wear, and
like very surface level, like I'm all about it being about you now, but like when I say about like focus on you, like focus on what your passions are, talk to yourself kindly, like those kind of things, like not just like what an 18-year-old self is.
And you know what? That is probably something that I want to do, is maybe be like, not talk at myself, but also be like, girl, what's important to you right now? And have my 18-year-old self talk to me and be like, girl, you know what I like right now? This is what I like. And this is what I think about. And da-da-da. And be like, what were my passions before all of the other shit that clutters life comes in? And when it was a quieter time in my life, what is it that I was really passionate about? And did I follow through with that? Did I hold on to that? Did I abandon that? Like that would be something I'd want to know about.
I think that's what I wanted, is that I would tell my 18-year-old self is like, pay attention to everything. Like really like take everything in. I feel like really I was in kind of like a
suck the marrow out of it.
Yeah, like I was in a daze, or like
that's
I was
what I mean.
just like,
I feel like I can't remember
it. And
like I remember parties, but it's like dark and hazy.
Yeah.
I remember going to class. I don't even really remember.
I don't know. School. Maybe like tell myself to like journal something every day, or just
I wish I journaled.
Or just really like focus. Like even things like, this is gonna be cheesy, but like my parents used to take us to, like museums and like historical museums all the time when we were younger, and I used to hate it. In high school, like history was like my least favorite subject, and now I'm just like, why didn't I pay attention? Because I'm like, if you know where you're like, where we were coming from,
things have come from
where things have come from, you have a different appreciation for life. And those are things like, and I even tell my kids now, I'm like, you guys are going to be wishing you paid attention. Honestly. And I just know that it's like in one ear and out the other. I know because they're not receptive right now. They're not like open to it. But just like pay attention, like take everything in.
Yeah.
And really like, I don't know, like if is hold on to it the right word, or just kind of like
suck the marrow out of life.
Yeah,
basically.
Suck all the marrow out of life and just embrace it.
That would be a major one as well. And even being in school, because in uni, I remember being like, listen, what is required for my majors?
Can I get this done faster?
Okay. Only my general ed requirements in first year, and these are my requirements for my major. I'm not doing shit else.
Yeah.
And now
I
would love to just sit in classes in uni
all the
and
time.
Just learn.
That's my thing. I was like, I feel like I'm a lifelong learner. So I was like, put me in any lecture every day. Don't give me tests. Don't give me like,
please.
Just let me
also,
learn.
Don't charge me money.
No, don't charge me. Just let me absorb and take it all in. Like, let's have class discussions, like all that. But
class discussion. Do you remember we'd have lecture and discussion modules for the same class? And I'd be like,
I don't want to do this. I have to like
redo the reading. Holy crap. Like that was so good.
Yeah.
And we had some of the most insane professors.
That's true.
Like such good teachers. And I'd be like, what's the bare minimum I need to do to get a good grade and leave? And now I'm just like, I would just sit in every sociology class. I would sit in every psychology class. I would sit, in any public policy class, like all of them, just to soak it all in because it was so interesting. And back then I just didn't take it as seriously.
So I guess we could say like, not just like pay attention, but even like put your whole heart into like whatever experiences you're having, assuming that they're like good quality experiences, positive experiences that you're like really you're putting everything that you have into it to get everything out of it.
Yeah, like really enjoy them to the fullest, but also like extract as much as you can. Live them to the fullest, I think, and be passionate about it. Like don't just be like,
don't be a robot.
Yeah, go in, go hard, like,
and question everything. Do not be a robot. Do not be a follower. Be your own individual.
The questioning is a really good one because in the same vein with the education is that a lot of my awakening education happened post formal schooling. And I'm like, I wish there was a module on this. There's a lot of courses now that exist that didn't when we were in school. And I'm like, fuck, I wish that was there. And the questioning is such a good one because you just fed this information and you're just like, all right, I need to know this to do well on the exam. And I need to know that. And you never actually think, is that the whole story? We have a saying that until the lion writes the story, the hunter will always be the hero.
Ooh, I got chills.
That's a good one, isn't it?
That's a good one. How would you say that in Swahili?
I'm not going to do it on here because I'm going to be judged.
Damn it, every time I ask you to say something.
No, because I'm going to be judged.
If you promise not to judge, I want to hear her. Okay, fine, off camera.
It is the internet. How come people not going to judge?
But we're talking about how we don't want to.
Literally a platform of judgment. Okay,
here's another one then. Okay, 18-year-old self, don't give a shit what anyone has to say.
Because then you're going to be 42
and still giving a shit
on your podcast.
Still giving a shit.
Yeah, honestly. And you know what? When you're 18, the shits, in some cases, it's okay to give a shit.
I mean, don't give it. People, I mean about like what they have to say about you. Like
exactly.
That's what
I mean. Unless it's people who love you and they're giving you constructive feedback. But yeah, basically at 18, the shit that you give a shit about is really, really petty. Like it's really stuff that is surface. And you're just like, I think that would be the thing to say. Be like, yeah, I know you feel like this is your world, but the world is so much bigger than this school, than college, than, like it's a world. It's a whole world. And then within that world, there's so many different little worlds, and there's going to be so many experiences and people and perspectives that you're going to meet, to the point where, like, I remember, for example, in college, there's the whole thing where, like, Americans, African Americans, because we hung out mostly with African Americans. African Americans generally clown Africans a lot because they're just like, you know, like, actually some of the worst racism I experienced was from African Americans. But I was just like, sorry, you don't have a sense of identity.
Yeah,
like, sorry. But but it took me a while to be like, oh, why? Like, why is it weird? Like, why am I treated differently? Because, like, you know, and to the point where I was like, oh, they're not even gonna, like, find me as attractive because my Africanness is considered something that's unattractive. And I can see that, like, at play where, and then, like, I remember I spent part of the summer in New York with our friend Dom. The summer after I did my first year, I spent some time in New York, and, you know, like, I still had that mindset of, like, okay, like, in America, I'm just not going to be that attractive because, like, I'm African and there's issues of colorism amongst Blacks and, you know, all of this stuff, right? And then, like, I remember, like, being on the subway and, like, a random person being like, oh my God, you're beautiful. And me, like, holding on to that, like, oh my God, someone thinks I'm pretty. And, like, it happened 3 or 4 times in the day. And I was like, am I just hot in New York? Like,
like New York and Connecticut were, like, literally,
like, right next to each other. But I was like, maybe I'm only hot in New York. And it's just, like, not registering in Connecticut. But, like, the weird thing is that all of those experiences made me realize, all right, well, like, first of all, it was college. It was a small little, and our circle was small and limited, and and I was just like, you know what? Like, this is not the world. This is the real world. And I remember always, like, saying that as a joke, even years later, being like, okay, so cities I'm hot in: New York, Sydney, Melbourne, not so much, Dubai, average, Prague, like, not so much Munich, Paris, like, being like, because the reaction is always going to be different. But at the end of the day, that's people. Like, there's always going to be a different perspective. If my self-worth shifts with the perspective, I don't have any solid ground that I'm standing on. Right. Like, I need to be like, look, I'm hot. Regardless.
You don't need that you don't need that validation from others.
Yeah, that's it. And then, like, when it comes, great, thank you, lovely to hear, thank you. And then when someone doesn't see it, you're like, oh, honey, sucks to be you. Yeah, you know, and it just rolls off. And so that was something that I thought about too, because I was like, what was I feeling? I thought when we initially had the discussion about the topic, and I was like, a couple of days ago, I was like, well, what was I thinking about? What was really in my head, like, when I was 18? And that was, like, something that was recurrent. I was just like, okay, so it's cool. Like, this is our circle. Like, yeah, we're going to go partying. But, like, I'm never going to be, like, the hot girls that they want, because they want the mixed girls, and they want the white girls, and they want the girls that, you know, don't, like, look as dark as me, and they want the girls that aren't African, and And I was like, all right, and you just accept that. And I was like, that was actually a really big part of my rhetoric to myself in my head, but not in a destructive way, but more in a, I just have to accept it. So much so that I realized.
Can I interject? Like, that might explain then, because I remember your interactions with guys was always very, like,
I was like you were, like,
like, you were one of the bros, like, one of the guys, like, you were always making jokes with them. So it's almost like you already
I knew
you gave into this
thought, I was just like, hey, so we're all boys.
Yeah, they were all boys. And that was even how you approached them, and that's how you put your energy out to them.
Because I actually didn't ever see anyone as a potential mate. I was just like, cool.
Because you had all those
I was like, we're just boys. Head. Plus, also at that point, we knew a lot of those guys pretty well, that I was like, I would never date none of y'all. But
people didn't talk. If people didn't date in university, they talked.
What? That was the thing.
Who you talking to?
I'm talking to
this person and this person and this person. we're not dating. It's not
the guy was like, I'm talking to everybody.
Because we're talking. And I'm like,
talking to everybody. I'm like, you couldn't even define what that means. No, what does that mean, sir?
No,
you're talking to?
No.
I mean, are you talking to somebody now? I was like, I don't know how to answer that.
I'm talking to you.
We're talking right now.
Right now. We're having a conversation. Is that what you mean?
It was.
That took me a minute.
It was the perfect word, I think, for a lot of the guys that we knew, because it was so vague and ambiguous that they're just like, "Come on, baby, it's undefined." I mean, I ain't talking to nobody right now. We're just talking. Like, oh my goodness,
man,
funny, funny times. So so that was probably a big one for me. And then I think the pressure, because it was uni times, it was more freshman year where I was like, oh my God, I can't like ever drink. I can't ever go to these like frat parties because my dad told me that like people get killed at them, you know, like because of the hazing stuff. Like that's how I came into college. He was like, never go to a fraternity, never join a sorority. They're crazy. And I was like,
is that before you knew that there were Black fraternities?
Totally. I didn't know because my idea of a fraternity was like, I was like, okay, so it's going to be a bunch of white supremacists. Under the guise of Greek letters. Basically lynching people. Like that, because my dad was in college.
That's the picture your dad
in America in the 60s.
So like that's what he's basing
shit was happening like that way. So he's like, listen, I don't want my kids to go through this. Let me warn you. And it was that. And the other one was like in Kenyan culture, it was, you know, so-and-so's son went to college in America and went to a party once and someone put drugs in his drink and now he's a vegetable for the rest of his life. Like, I'm like, first of all, the story doesn't add up, but it became the cautionary tale that we all heard. Like, I believed that shit. So I was like, if I drink, definitely I'm getting roofied, like for sure. So I didn't drink. I didn't really go out. First 2.5 years, almost most of the third year as well. And it's only when we all started going out. In comes
Dee.
Let's actually put facts on the table. It turns out you were the bad influence.
But I wasn't drinking either.
Oh yeah.
I just provided.
We were all going out though.
I just provided the car to get you guys to the places.
We were all going out though.
We were going out. We at least
spring
once
weekend.
A week we were going.
Going dancing. We were going to spring weekend parties. During the spring fling time.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I went there too, because I was like, there's people that I know now that are gonna hold me down. So we'll be okay.
Yeah. Spring weekend would be a bunch of parties at these fraternities that her dad warned her not to go to.
We
just
were inside
context.
Those parties. What was that area that was
where the rape trail was? That's literally what it
was
called.
Honestly, that's what they called it, the rape trail.
Everyone's like, hey, where you at right now? I'm looking for you. I'm
Girl,
on the rape
trail. I'm about to be there. And I literally had that conversation with you because you guys were already down at Celeron and I wasn't coming. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to just head down there and meet them.
Yeah.
And I called y'all and you were like, yeah, we're down here for a while. And I was like, I'm coming through. And I was walking on the rape trail by myself.
But it would never be empty.
It was never empty. There's people drinking, walking back and forth. They had like jungle gyms there because that's where like military used to do their, like the ROTC guys used to do their, you don't remember? They had little like, honestly, it was very Blair Witch. But
I remember, but I don't remember the jungle gym at all.
It was, they had like little climbing frames and stuff because that's where the ROTC people used to do their like, basic training stuff. Then they had those emergency along the way and it was lit.
Yeah.
And it was paved.
Yeah.
But it was through a forest.
Literally.
Yeah.
But
I was just like,
I think they had enough incidents to call it the rape trail, and then the university was like, yeah, we gotta do something about this.
Did they change the name?
I don't know. But I'm just saying for them to put up the emergency.
Yeah. Like, there was an incident, I think. The blue light thingy, right? Yeah. Those were
all over campus.
Oh my God.
I remember being so terrified the first time I saw it because we didn't have them at my first university.
Those emergency thingies? Really?
Yeah.
You were like, what kind of place am I coming to?
Do I need a rape whistle? Like,
honestly, and our school had their own police department. like the
Yes,
Yukon
we
police.
had patrolling police.
They're our
Yeah,
own
that's
police
true.
department that would
I remember
patrol
that.
around and just like walk around campus.
Yep.
And then but yeah, we went to a couple of those
Okay.
frat parties.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't remember interacting at them. We would go because they had free beer. And we were like, we ain't buying shit because we're
Right.
broke college students.
Right.
So we're going to come in, pump the keg,
and dance.
fucking dance, and then leave.
And leave. Before you wrap it up, is there any other piece of advice that you would give? I guess we could also touch on love and boys and not wasting your time on,
Yeah, although I think mine would be like opposite. Because I was what I described, so uptight and like scared for so long. I think I was just like, I can't like date, I can't like do anything, I can't, I was even like a virgin most of college till the final year because I was like, oh my God, like I can't even and like in hindsight, I think I crossed that path or whatever when I was ready, mentally and emotionally. But like I would say that like don't feel that it's something that has to happen, and also like don't at the same time don't take it so seriously. For me, for most 18-year-olds, I'd be like take it more seriously, but for me, because I was so uptight about it and filled with so much fear from my upbringing, I think, and cautionary stories, I think I'd be like, girl, just take it easy a little bit, don't
I
be
can
as
see that
uptight
for
about
me
it.
too.
Yeah.
Although I also like, university, like I said, we weren't dating because
I think it was again only us. We weren't drinking, we weren't dating, we were like
Virgin
we're
Mary
just
shit
here
happening.
to study and go home.
Yeah. But at the same time, like maybe just because I guess also coming into it from my upbringing and how conservative and
and I remember us having it's coming back to me. We had these conversations a lot.
Yeah. And I think also though, like when I did meet somebody, I always fell hard, but it was like one-sided. And I feel like I would I would give too much of my heart away.
You give so much importance to
so
that
much, and I give that so much importance to them, and I'd just be like, I would tell myself now, like slow your roll with every encounter that you have in the dating scene, and to not fall so hard,
and realize that dating itself can be like it doesn't have to be like lead to marriage.
Doesn't have to lead to marriage, and I think that's where I always thought like whoever I'm with. And that's because of how we were raised. Like, you don't date.
You don't.
You get married.
Yeah.
And then you date each other.
Then you figure out what's happening.
You figure that shit out. And so every time like I fell for someone, it was like I fell hard. And it was always like
and they're like, whoa.
And then I would be heartbroken.
Because they're not ready to get married.
Not ready.
And understandably
like,
so.
No, and I wasted so much time. Like so many tears, so much time on that bullshit. And also only dating assholes. Like I wish I would have paid more attention to the nice guys. Because
I don't remember meeting a lot of nice guys.
I remember meeting at least one or two, aside from my husband.
Yeah.
And I being like, look,
like ick, you're nice.
Yeah, you're nice. Like I don't know what to do with that.
True.
Like
niceness was kind of
I need a project. I need someone who's gonna treat me like shit so that I can then like fix him, because I'm gonna be the one that he changes for. That's just how it's gonna work. I can fix him.
That would be the first. That would. You can't fix him. That would be the name of the letter.
Move on, and.
Oh my God. Yeah. That would be a letter to my 18-year-old self, to my 27-year-old self, to my 30-year-old self, and to my 35-year-old.
There you go.
35-year-old self. Yeah. Like you can't fix him.
Can't fix him.
Move on, girl.
Don't even bother. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your breath. Don't waste your energy.
And the thing is also with like taking it easy with the dating, what you just said, like if you're just like, we're just getting to know each other, because that's really what dating is. You're getting to know someone, and you're also getting to know yourself. Like not taking that so seriously, you actually manage to preserve relationships with guys that maybe aren't the best partners, but are actually just really nice guys that can stay in your life as friends, but obviously not someone that you could end up marrying, but still like respect each other, so you build friendships, that last longer.
Yeah. He had to fit a category.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it wasn't like get married or date, like there was no room.
Yeah.
Because there's also like, you hear the whole like boys and girls can't be friends kind of concept, which we always like, I always heard all my life, like boys and girls from a religious standpoint, and when you get to cultural, and then when you actually are in university and high school, like they'd always say like boys and girls just can't be friends. Although I was always one of the guys. Like for me, I grew up always feeling like in high school, I always had more guy friends than girlfriends. In university, the same thing. I don't know. They were just easier. I felt like girls were always so complicated.
We weren't complicated.
You and me.
We did have some complicated people in the group. We also had some,
like you say, we had a nice group, but I remember there being some drama between we were women. Like it wasn't like it was us and Dom.
And we hung out a lot. Yeah. So I think we were all synced up on our cycles too, because it would be always around. Everybody would be just losing their shit at the same time.
Yeah. So
There was one in particular.
You'll have to remind me, because knowing me, I forgot about it.
Well, Murray was definitely one.
Yes, I remember that.
And then Anya. You just
I can't remember that.
Wrote her off out of memory, which is probably the healthiest way to come out of that.
You have to remind me of that one, because really, that's just one person that I simply cannot.
You don't remember when you drove us to New York? She was the other one that was with us. I think it was me, you, your sister, and her in the car. And she was the blonde with the big ass. Don't remember?
Does anyone have pictures? I know there's some people from UConn that are listening to us. If y'all have pictures.
Oh, what's his name would remember? Who listens to us from UConn? What's his? Oh my God. He's gonna be so mad I forgot his name. Olu Benga.
Oh, Benga.
Benga. You remember, Anya. I know you do. And he's gonna be like, oh, you mean Anna?
Why? Was she Anna or Anya?
Everyone called her Anna. Her name was Anya, yeah, because she's Russian. And so her name was Anya, and he's gonna be, oh, you mean Anna? Yeah. As soon as I said big ass, I'm sure Benga will be like.
I feel like Benga has photos. Like, you need to share photos.
No, I'm sure he doesn't.
He sent me because he had photos like at one point of not like naughty photos.
Oh, right.
Like he shared photos at one point of us like in the snow at UConn.
Us is a stretch.
I need to find them. I think they're on Facebook.
Me?
I remember Mary. I think Mary was in the photos.
Yeah, I sure as hell was not. I was not in the snow because I wasn't hanging out there. And for a second, I was not taking photos of myself in the snow. Never. No.
Okay, I'll find out. I need to find these photos. I'm going to share them with you.
Oh, find it. Yeah.
So,
Benga,
if you have photos, whoever's listening from UConn, please. Like, I have zero photos from that time.
I don't have.
Dom might have photos.
Mm-mm.
No?
Because Dom wrote off a lot of the same people we did, too.
Shit.
And he's like, I done moved on. But I think.
No, like my mom. I remember my mom found a whole box of photos, and she was like, and she dumped everything
because we were using digital cameras. Yes, we had
print photos.
And then, do you remember we used to take a photo of the
photo and put on Facebook? But what's funny is that I don't have any of the stuff from. I can't find anything, any of my older photos from on Facebook. Like it's almost like there was like a time lapse or a time limit.
And it was like, yeah, girl, this is too far
because
back.
If you remember, Facebook was only for university students. So we would have had stuff on there from uni days.
And I wasn't in Facebook in uni, though. I joined Facebook, I remember, when I was in Australia. Because I was like, I'm not going on that shit.
That means you would have already graduated. Because I got Facebook at least... Did you graduate a year or 2 years ahead of me?
2004.
I graduated 2005.
Yeah,
I remember getting it 2004, I think.
I still could have had it. And I was like, nah, I'm not joining that shit. And I remember my friend Nicole was like, it's so cool. You can like have your photos there. And I was like, girl. And then like I joined and I was like, oh shit, it's the shit.
Click.
Yeah. So I have those from circa 2000, I think 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So it does go back.
I need to go because I can't either for some reason I can't see them, or maybe it was always photos that I was tagged in. So people would have maybe people removed those photos,
or those people are no longer on
and
Facebook,
they're not on
or
Facebook,
something.
so they
Maybe, yeah.
because
I
there's
do,
a
I do have a photo on my Facebook of that chick from a night out in fucking New York.
okay.
I just remembered.
You have
yes,
to show. You have to show
yes,
me.
it came up on my
Oh my
because I
God.
never go on it anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, it came up on my reminder thingy, and it was like, yeah, oh, from 20 something years ago. And yeah, I do have it.
Okay, so we need to review that.
I'm gonna show you after this.
So,
on that note, guys,
I think we gave you guys something to think about.
Yeah, and even if it's just as an exercise to see how far you've come, or to think about things that are important, it might be something you might want to try. Again, it doesn't have to be in writing, in pen. You can do it as a voice message to yourself. You can think about it.
If you want to write in the comments, like one piece of advice you'd give your 18-year-old self, like we would love to hear it.
That would be awesome.
And see that. So definitely do that.
Feel free to share.
Yeah. So until next time, happy Flex Friday.
Bye.
Bye.